Okay, so a little backstory here. Two VRV modules, master, sub, 460 volt. This module runs just fine. This module has an issue where it has blown the boards, fan driver boards, inverter boards, and even a noise filter twice. Issue is, once it gets all rewired back up, we're finding on the L2 wire that the voltages are sporadic. So sporadic that they're dropping down to 100 volts, 120, 320, 140, 310, 160, 280, and it's just all over the place between the measurements. When you measure it between L1, L2, it fluctuates from L2 to L3, it fluctuates L2 to ground, fluctuates L1 to L3, great. Disconnect all the noise filters, compressors, everything, and just isolate it from here down, and at the A1P board, fluctuation stops. When you land the noise filters, but no compressors, no fan motors, no nothing, just noise filters, and disconnect the outs on both sides, still fluctuates. Fluctuates up and down, up and down, up and down. But with everything disconnected like this, fluctuations stop. This unit runs just fine, right? It's this unit's problem. Well, the things were okay. Well, we've got a few things inside of here. We've got the ground wire. We've got a few other extras, but nothing has panned out thus far. And so fast forward, go downstairs, breaker's tripped. Breaker blew up, died, grounded, fizzled. Changed the breaker, came back, started troubleshooting some more, found out 20 minutes later, fluctuations came back again, right? Come back today with replacement parts from our team to go ahead and change out of the last parts we haven't changed on this module itself. Come to find out the breaker's shorted again and tripped and dirty. So we're doing some investigations, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. It's not in this module, it's not in this transformer. Everything in here is great. So this is pointing to a high voltage issue from here downstairs through the disconnect. Yeah, where's it at?
It's the bottom one on the right.
Yeah, I can smell bad.
It's burning.
Yep. This one?
Yeah.
Yep. You don't want that on. I don't think you can see it though.
It didn't have that smell before?
No.
Yeah. It's not good.
We can pull that off if you want. It comes off pretty easy.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Damn, it's bad.
Yeah, it's a fire waiting to happen. Just, yeah, you're good. Don't drop any screws.
Got it. Right there.
Yeah. Look at the degradation on that wire there. I wonder if it's I wonder if it's energized somewhere.
Or
on
you
something.
that is our wire.
No, it's not our wire. No, it's just, again, why there's no reason for it to look like that over time, unless it was for some reason charged or there was electricity on.
I don't think it's even hooked up. I think this is just a leg that's not being
Well,
used.
it might be, but what if it's connected somewhere else as a splice and it's just sitting in here?
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't. That's not normal electrical tape wear. Yeah, there's some discoloration on the other wires for that one. That goes up. Orange. Got some more.
Are our master modules different size than the subs in this case? They have different wires. What gauge size is different?
Yep.
It might be 120 versus a 96.
There you go. Yeah, look at that. There's water in the wire.
There's water in these wires.
Can't imagine why the electrical panel's shorted out. Look at that. Well, that's a first, for sure. You can see that. Look at that. It's all black and brown in there. It's the yellow wire. But that's dripping down our wire.
And running right
into the breaker on that phase, just enough to get it nice and hot and then ground out at the terminal. question is now, where's the water coming from? That was the grease you guys put in there?
We didn't. It already came.
Yeah, but it didn't look like that.
No, it didn't have any grease on it. It was dry as a bone. Where did all that grease come from?
I don't know, but it got hot enough inside to where it's literally oozing from the base here.
So we do have like some strong like electrical issues. So he fucked that breaker again.
That's definitely.
Because it is not even a month since we replaced that breaker.
Yeah, and you can see it's dripped down on the floor.
Oh yeah.
There's a nice little grease spot down there. I mean, it doesn't help that, you know.
Yeah, that's wide open.
This looks like it was dripping water at some point, but definitely with the way it looks right now, that's where the smell of smoke's coming from. Okay.
Probably that's why it tripped.
Oh, I'd say, yeah, this is definitely tripped the breaker for a reason. All right, so this is a it's a first for me, but you can see here we've got a faulty breaker down here. It's actually popping and sizzling. It's cooled off now, but you can see how cool it is inside of there, that blue spot. You can see the actual discoloration and the swelling inside of the breaker here. You'd think, okay, well, it's a failed circuit, it's pulling too many amps, but the wire is in good shape. Actually, the problem is if you look here, you can see a little bit of a snail trail on the wire that goes all the way up and across here into this, and whoa, look at all the rust, the corrosion, bit of a red flag here. This is the outside, this is the inside. It tells you that it looks like water's been dripping in this panel for quite some time. Here's the crazy wild thing. So wire coiled up here, extra wires here on the right hand side, actually have water in the wires. So there is water somewhere on the roof, puddle of it, a pool of it, whether it's in conduit or something, that is actually not coming down the outside of the wires, but the inside of these three wires here that we cut out. The ends before they got cut out look like this, brown, black discoloration from moisture over time being exposed to air. This has been dripping water right here down my wires to this system, right across the backside to this leg specifically into the breaker. So much so that as the water builds up over time, it's causing the breaker to short out and overheat, sizzles. And in the bottom, there's actually a nice little puddle that you can see of brown, just gunk and goo. And you can actually see on the wires up here too, the other wires going to other breakers, you know, they're full of just stuff. Look at that. Built up over time. So much so that the electrical tape was soaked when I pulled it off of the end of that. Yeah, all of that was causing some wild electrical issues where the middle leg would drop to 100 volts, then 340 volts, then 100 volts, then 120 to 220 to not 700, that's exaggeration, 310, jumping all over the place on the outdoor unit. We thought it was the inverter board, we thought it was the noise filter board. We disconnected literally everything and the voltage would stop. And so it was only when there was a draw on the breaker and those wires that the voltage would drop periodically, causing issues where the system would stop communicating or the compressors wouldn't run. And so all that because some water in a wire dripping on a breaker in a hotel that has been in business for quite a while. So
I like to take the breaker out so you can.
Oh yeah. No.
So you need to go and flip the main breaker out.
We don't have a breaker to go back with it, so it would only make more sense to pull it apart. I mean, I really would love to see what's inside there to see how it failed, but I mean, with the water dripping down the wires, I mean, you can see the water on the wall now from the wires. Water dripping in the wires, down into the panel, going down the wire here, which is where you can see these little snail trails, then into the breaker itself to where it failed electrically. It came down the wire, with the breaker being this way. It puddled and pooled right here where you can see it, right? And then when it pooled here, the water got high enough to come across the backside where it's not sealed, because this is a loose block. and it got far enough back to actually hit the back metal terminal block.
Yeah.
And then it grounded, and when it grounded, man, it shot like a fireball, I'm sure. Nice big old spark, which then obviously melted the plastic. So, and you can see it's still wet. It's a beautiful smell too. All right, so we know it's not the unit, it's the wire, right? L2 wire has water coming out of it. Well, where is the water coming from? Is it coming from the roof? Is it coming from a control box? It's our disconnect that's off here in the middle. So we follow it down and over, walk around the corner here. You're gonna notice here that this is our disconnect. Left wire goes over to our unit, which is not sealed inside the unit, but again, water's not gonna come up, go to the connections and come down. It's this one here. And if we go down, take a look, you're gonna see the rings they used, they silicone them. Well, let's look at the silicone seal on the conduit for this one. Well, it doesn't look like that's very waterproof, does it? That one looks intact, somewhat. But this one, not so much. So, I'm gonna pop this off with a crescent wrench, see if we can, see what's underneath. Maybe put a vacuum on it, shot back up here on the roof, see if we can get some water out of it. So, stay tuned. You can hear the water in the line. Shot back in and see what we get. Look at that water. Look at that water. Pumping it up. That is a heck of a lot of water for a conduit.
Just like that. Tip it over like that again.
Crazy. Well, there's your problem.
So what was the solution? The solution was actually running new wire in new conduit from the roof all the way down to the electrical panel so that the system could run without having to worry about water dripping out of the wires. Now for things like this, when there are no error codes, when there isn't anything that makes sense on site, we have to go back to the basics of what we do know. We knew that the breaker was tripping. We knew that the unit had irregular power fluctuations. And so what do? We check from point A to point B, from the breaker or the main electrical feed to the unit itself, which led us to where we found the water in the conduit, which was getting into the wires. Right? So when you're talking about problems in the field, when we're looking at issues that don't make any sense, always step back and say, well, from point A to point B, it's no good. What's in between? And you have to go and look and research to find out what that is. Now, this was a first for me, and I actually really enjoyed troubleshooting this one. We've been out there several times. It was a callback. When nothing makes sense, sometimes we have to step back and just trust the science, right? Trust what we're seeing. Talk about it out loud. Don't be afraid to step back and think, man, what is really going on here? Because changing boards over and over again isn't going to fix your unit, and it's not the solution. You have to step back, disconnect everything, and find out what is the same, what's different, how does it act now? Those are the things that are difficult to teach, that you're not going to learn in trade school, something that you learn out in the field. And for me, I'm learning that every single day. See you guys on the next video.
Thanks for watching. If you're willing, give this video a thumbs up and drop us a comment. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to stay updated with all of our future videos. And as a quick reminder, HVAC School isn't just a YouTube channel. Dive deeper with us at our main website, hvacrschool.com. Curious for more knowledge on the go? We've got you covered. Tune into the HVAC School podcast, available on all your favorite podcast apps. And while you're at it, join our thriving Facebook group. Also, don't miss out on our free mobile applications available for both iPhone and Android. We're all about community. For techs, by techs.